Hello friends, welcome back into the Golden Tee Lounge. Kevin Lindsay here. Happy Halloween, happy start of a new week, and hopefully a happy Monday to you as well. Taking a look at this week's Monday Mix-Up, $950 in the prize pool. It is 2007's Rustic Bridge. Kicking things off here with hole 10, a par 3. This is a course that if you've never played Golden Tee before or you're new to it this year, you really should play this one. It is a lot of fun, and it is definitely a throwback. A course that has a handful of sometimes drivable par 4s. Hole 2 here, which is hole 15, the par 5, definitely not one of those semi-drivable, but I'm sure we'll get to some of those sooner rather than later. GoldenTee.com/locations. Find any Golden Tee Live or Golden Tee PGA Tour 2022 game near you, and you can play up until 9:59 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. You can get a part of this Monday Mix-Up action. Hit the 3 hybrid, don't hit the 3 hybrid. Couldn't tell you the last time I legitimately hit a 3 hybrid on the approach shot of this hole, but that's okay. Just be one with the trees and all as well. Now, the nice thing about the daily contest, you guys, I'm sure have heard me say this countless times, but if it's your first time hearing me say it, welcome. Same conditions, same wind, same pin, same tee, same everything for that 24-hour period. So, it's a good teaching tool for players of all skill levels, but especially the newer players. If you're trying to figure out how to control the trackball the right way, back in the day I used to go left click 1 to deal with that right 8 green slope instead of, potentially using the trackball to shape your shot. So these are all things that throughout the course of any daily contest, whether it's a Monday Mix-Up, a regular course, or a Freaky Friday, you can use as a tool. Maybe you missed a hole by a couple inches to the left. We'll try to get back in that same spot and figure out what you could do differently to capitalize on that particular shot you're looking at. Hole 4, this is hole number 12, a par 5. I would love to tell you to just high tee a shot and go over here, but I don't think that's going to work. I believe you'll go OB. So what we're going to do instead is something I've never ever tried, but for you guys I will. I'm going to take a high tee. I know that it's not going to get to the green, but I want to see where they drop me. It's actually not too bad. Okay, so if you want, you can go to the left. You might have to deal with some trees. I am going to take a shortcut, I hope. I don't know what that's exactly called. Still putting in for birdie, but at least I got a shorter shot at that eagle chance. That's one of the holes I'd probably do over differently if I was showing it to you again. But part of being able to play as many times as you want is being able to have fun and take chances on tee shots that you normally wouldn't hit. And since it was so early in the game, and I'm not doing the best, gives you chances to do that. I always tell players, it took a long time for me to figure that out myself, but if you have a daily contest game you're playing and you make a couple shots and you know it's not the score you want, don't necessarily quit. Go through the rest of those holes and try to figure out what the tee shot is, because even though you're not going to have a good score, you can still build up a repertoire, I guess I would say, of shots to use for when you play the daily contest again. So I'm one of those people that if I'm screwing up, I used to like to quit all the time, but I finally have taught myself over the last probably, it's called 5 or 10 years, take a step back, take a breather, grab a drink, grab some water, whatever the case may be, and then go ahead and finish out that round, and then just take another shot at it. Surprisingly closer than I thought. Just happy to get on the green and putt for birdie. And that was hole 7, on hole 7, the rarity. Hole 8 is hole 4, a par 5 that in perfect instances is potentially drivable. And this actually may be one of those, we're going to go high tee, 10.5 degree. If you're not going to able to get to the green, which may not be the case here, you're at least having a chipping opportunity for double eagle. Again, I love Rustic Bridge, but that does not happen very often. Damn it. So, high T, 10.5 degree driver. If you hit it a little bit farther to the left than I did, you may have a better chance of hitting, getting it on the green and actually putting in for the rare double eagle on that hole. And as we get to hole 9, to close off the front 9, it is hole 3. Simple little par 3. Not too much to be worried about here, except if you use backspin or bite and end up in the rough. Probably not chipping as easily, or excuse me, putting as easily as you should be, so chipping it is. And then we get to hole 10, which is actually hole 2. Very nice to see, especially in the earlier days of Golden Tee Live, where you were just getting onto a course. You have a sometimes drivable hole 1, and then guess what? Boom. Hole 2 is drivable at least 98% of the time. And even with a strong wind in your face, you could still get there. Speaking of which, wasn't planned. Didn't actually look at my little cheat sheet here, but that's kind of funny. Hole 11 is hole 1, which is what I was talking about. That sometimes drivable, par 4. This one, we're going to try something that's probably not going to work. But I'm going to low tee it. Now the problem comes into play with that little road. But at least still, you have the opportunity to try to chip not as far left. Now the problem with that being a hole 1 is the green is flat. So you're not going to get much help in that. So you got to be spot on with the chipping there. But definitely, this is a course where I said it before, and now after seeing some of the setups, I'll say it again. Definitely going to require a couple games to find an almost perfect game. But it's out there with some of these holes being in a good drivable setup. Even hole 12, which is hole 18 typically, with a gold tee to the right, a 12-mile-an-hour wind to the left, probably high tee that to get a little bit more distance. Not a perfect shot on that hole, but a simple 26-foot putt for eagle. And that hole can set up pretty tough. It's in the number 12 spot today, so that probably helps for sure. But anytime you can get an eagle on a drivable par 4 or a par 5, it's great. Then we get to the next hole. This is hole 13. This is Rustic Bridge 14. A par 5 that's not too terribly difficult if you get far enough out on that fairway. You can also use the street on this hole. I believe you still can use the street. But with that wind and distance, it was easier to just smash a high tee driver and take the little hybrid in, putting in for eagle. Hole 14 is actually hole 17, probably the toughest hole in on this course. And that's going to be because it's a 13-mile-an-hour wind to the right, a right 9 green slope. I'm going to try a shot. Probably isn't going to work. Well, it's not too bad because of the slope. But see, this is the problem. I end up on the rough. Was thinking that was like a 60% chance that I missed that putt. Get to hole 15. This is another fun hole. Hole number 6. This one, we've actually seen somebody go over the top to the left before. Not always a drivable spot, but when you get... Now this wind, if it was blowing left, would be even better. But when you have a chance like this, I hit the trees, that's okay. With the wind blowing to the left there, that is a potentially aceable hole. Not going to be the case here today. But at least we still had a good chance at it. Now, because that wind was blowing to the right, maybe it's a time to go left to right. That was an awful putt. Let's just, I need the neuralizer from Men in Black. Just pretend you didn't see that. But that may be a setup where you try a high T3 or a high T10.5 to at least get in closer chipping range than I was able to with my shot. And then hole 16, Rustic Bridge 16. A par 4 with some trees that have a whole lot of shaking going on over here. But, again, wind's blowing opposite of the green, but this is a par 4. that can be drivable at times. Now, as long as you get it up there and get it over to the other side of the green, you're in the rough with a down 7 slope. Ugh. Good chance to chip in for eagle. But again, don't fret if you get a birdie. It is okay on this hole. And then we get to hole 17, which is hole 11, which count me or consider me a broken record, but is another potentially drivable hole on this course. I've never ever done this before, and I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to try it. This is not a drivable setup, so it's okay. I just don't know if anybody's ever gone right before. So at least it gets you clear of the trees, which is always a good time. Down 6 with a roll on it, probably not the best decision unless the green takes it to the cup. This may be one of those courses I'll have to go back after this and look at all the setups. But this may be one of the whole courses that has so many swing holes because there's at least 5 or 6 that are sometimes drivable and not always the case. But to end today's Monday Mix-Up on Rustic Bridge from 2007, we are ending with hole 5. This is a much shorter look than I am used to. I'm used to having a 6 or a 5 or even an 8 that you can hit in, but because we're so close, I'm just going to hit a high T3 hybrid. The reason why I'm hitting high T is because I want to fight this wind. I fought the wind real hard, way too hard. I need mulligans. But I wanted to take the spin out of the shot there. And so, again, 22 under or 23 under is not a bad score. For this course, there's a lot of left opportunities on this scoreboard. So, goldentee.com/locations to find a Golden Tee Live or PGA Tour game that is updated to 2022 near you. Play as many times as you want before 9:59 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday. And we'll see you guys all week long for more Golden Tee action.